People who fix bad tattoos. What is the funniest, worst story of a bad tattoo? Removed some terrible ones in my time. The worst was an entire back piece of swastikas and hanging black men from trees. Lots of hate all over. He booked over the phone. I sound like an average British white, which I'm not. When he came in, shoulder seen the look on his face. He had to apologize like a million times and say his disclaimer for almost half an hour before letting me see it. Another was Chinese kanji for stupid lesbian on a lady's neck. I had a patient who somewhat stiffly and formally asked if he could talk to the people doing his operation right before having surgery. I think his pre-op nurse was in on it, because she was able to grab us all. When we were assembled he addressed us. I am 43 years old, but when I was 18 I was a lost and stupid person. I got tattoos that reflect a hateful ideology. I am not that person. I want to apologize to you. Got what you will surely soon see. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. It was so heartfelt and sad. We would have given him the same 200% effort we gave anyone in our awe, but it was wonderful to hear what he had to say to us. Otherwise we would have been sort of how many swastika tattoos does this MF have, and moved on. Well, he's getting it fixed, which means he's changing his ways. Not an artist here, but an old buddy of mine was going through a really religious phase and wanted the word Jesus tattooed on him in Hebrew characters. So he used the internet to translate and copied the word, printed it and got it tattooed. Unfortunately, he copied the word Hebrew in the Hebrew characters, instead of the word Jesus. We still bring it up every so often. I have a few friends who might get that tattoo intentionally. I would even consider it myself. Hey, what's your tattoo mean? It's Hebrew. Yeah, but what does it mean in Hebrew? The tattoo is Hebrew. But, like, what's the meaning behind it? Hebrew. Yeah, but what does it mean? In Hebrew? Yes. My grandpa, may he rest in peace, named his dog Kowal. That's a Spanish word that in this case it roughly translates to which one. It's still fun to introduce him to new people. Or cute doggy. What's his name? Which one? That dog. What's his name? Which one? This dog right here. How do you call it? Which one? Love you grandpa. Hope you still laugh at it. 3. I have a friend who, shortly after high school, got a tramp stamp that said "Ridin' Cowboy." It fit her life at the time. Now, 20 or so years later, she's married with a family, and has since had it covered up with a sprawling full-color nature scene with symbolism representing her kids. It's not what I would have chosen, but she likes it. Not to mention that her husband views it as a huge improvement over the original, so my opinion doesn't really matter. Better than knock 3 times before entering tramp stamp. I wonder if there's a speak friend and enter tramp stamp out there. I had a client who was walking somewhere and a man in a van rolled up. The van guy rolled down the window and asked if he wanted cheap tattoo removal. My client shouted, "Hell yes," and climbed eagerly into the back of the van. The guy had a tattoo laser in the back of the van. My client removed his shirt and asked the guide to zap an unfortunate Jesus crucifix he got tattooed in someone's basement as a teenager. The tattoo took up his entire back. The van guy started zapping the tattoo when my client sees an amber plastic shield fall off of the laser. This is a shield that prevents the laser from burning the skin. He becomes concerned and asks the van guy, "Hey, what's that thing that fell off?" The guy replies, "If it fell off, it must not be important," and he continues zapping the it out of wonky Jesus. My client pays him $20 and jumps out of the van, stoked on his good fortune. By time he gets home, the back of his shirt is soaked with fluid. He pulls off the shirt and his skin is bubbling, blistering, and quite literally fried. About a year later, he booked me to fix up his back tattoo. He tells me the back alley laser story and then takes his shirt off. Tattoo Jesus is battered, but still there staring back at me. His skin looks like lumpy hamburger meat. I've seen a lot of skin in my time, and let me tell you, the scar tissue was unreal. We ended up tattooing a Japanese dragon over the whole thing. Tattoos do a good job of camouflaging scar tissue, so he left a happy camper. I feel the need to throw out the obligatory mum lecture. Everything about tattooing is expensive. If you are a cheap mofo, expect to spend 10 times the amount of money fixing your poor life decisions. Why on earth would you actually climb into a stranger's van for a tattoo removal? Just, why? Why? And how many people are agreeing to this that Buddy thinks he has a shot at a rolling tattoo removal business here? Story time. I was in the shop shooting the 8 and looking through the books, while my buddy was in the chair getting some new ink. Young couple walks in. They're maybe 19-20 years old and pawing each other to the point that I thought they were going to fall down and have X right there on the floor. Girl says we need matching Bobby and Becky forever tattoos with hearts and flowers. Artist, also a friend, doesn't even look up. No, go away. You been together what? 1 month? 2? Come back in 5 years. The girl argued for about a minute and then they left. Artist, I hate doing cover-ups of my own work. 30-year-old them are so grateful. Here is my story from when I was 20. Met a Reiki instructor who just started tattooing. Yes, there will be a few red flags with this one, all of which I ignored. He had 2 pictures of tattoos he had done on his family. So I decided to come up with this black filigree to go around my first tattoo, a tribal stamp of a Libra symbol. I figured it could be turned into a frame later for a back piece. He was so nervous. Took 3 hours to set up, red flag, and then just laid a towel down on his bed. Now at this point I have a couple tattoos done professionally, and had no issues sitting for them. This tattoo was one of the most painful experiences in my life. I was crying and begging him to stop, but he convinced me to keep going, and went as far to sit on me and pin me down to the bed. An hour later he has an outline done, and starts to fill it in, and I'm screaming for him to stop. His mum walks in concerned and he gets off me. I leap up, thank him, and drive home crying. Once it heals I see there isn't one straight line. Every line is a wobbly mess, and blown the frick out. At this point I'll look into laser removal, which would cost me thousands for the size of it, and considering how deep he went into the skin, would probably never lift it 100%. So I decide to get it covered up. Thing is, it's a solid black American motif tribal. No one wants to touch it. Not only that, but the lines are raised. This motherfucker scared me for life. Professionals guessed that he must have fricked up his needle somehow. They think he either used a bobbed needle, or one of his needles were bent, so it just tore my skin up. So 5 years and 13 hours of work later I got a giant jabberwocky in my lower back that stretches up to my ribs. Easily my most painful tattoo, emotionally and physically. Whoa, that is horrible. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I had a friend in college who tried to convince me to let him tattoo me and I'm so glad I didn't for many reasons. But this is way up there on the list. I try to tell people, free tattoos are a bad idea. Unless it's by a friend, or husband, partner, that's a professional. For the most part you get what you paid for. After that experience I only went to artists who charged $120 to $150 an hour and I was never disappointed. Life pro tip. If you ever want to get your ears, cartilage, other body part pierced, go to a well-reputed tattoo parlor and ask if they do piercings. Never let someone do it with a piercing gun. Also, make sure they use the right size needle for that body part and keep it clean. No. Go to a professional body piercing shop, body pisser who you have researched properly. Tattoo artists won't automatically do a great job just because they use a needle. Source. Tattoo artist did a terrible job on my tragus and used it quality jewelry. Never again. Have had 3 more body piercings done at professional and highly rated piercing studio, including a genital piercing, and have been very happy. And do your research for the shop too. I had my belly done at 16 at a supposedly professional place and she didn't get enough skin. It never healed and basically the weight of the bar tore the skin. I had to take it out and now have a scar. Luckily it healed like a star so it's a cute scar. I don't fix tattoos, nor do I personally have a bad one. But one of my good friend's wife was stationed in Germany, so they moved there. One of the first nights there, my buddy got hammered and wandered into a tattoo parlor. Basically just told the guide to give him whatever. Ended up being a giant naked woman with her hands tied behind her back and a dunce cap on. Oh god, out of all the things they could have done, why that? Yes, why didn't they tattoo him a peanuts on his forehead like anyone else would? No, they needed to do something SPECL. A guy from high school had no regrets tattooed to his forearm, then had it removed. Should have kept the word regrets. I live in Los Angeles. I know there's one shop that will cover up any gang tattoos and even laser removes gang tattoos for free. Not someone who fixes bad tattoo, but a while back my Asian mate thought it was a genius idea to get made in China tattooed on his chest. Yeah, it's fixed now.